Welcome to another edition of Your Impact Attack. That's right, it is Your Impact Attack, and we are ready for a no nonsense turbo edition tonight because we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover, and uh, we're not going to waste the time. And who is we? We are the VBC together collectively. We're the VBC. I'm the vet Jamie Williams. Hello, that's the V and the VBC reaching out for the tag, the hot tag. Can anybody do a hot tag anymore? Let's find out tonight. Brandon is here. He's the B. What's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. We had a pretty loaded weekend this weekend. We had TNA Impact, we had SmackDown, we had Emergence, we had Triple A Mania, which
Don't
was
remind me. That's all right. I managed to dodge a lot of that, so it's no problem. But unfortunately, some of the people here with us did not. They watch all of it. I'm sure they loved it. I'm sure we've got a four horse people that love wrestling here right now. So who do we have with us?
let's see, we got Lab Rat, we got Javi Uchi, we got Chris Willing with a question, and of course we got Liz. So that's four right there, pal. How's everybody doing tonight? Whoa.
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, a lot of stuff going on. First order of business. Fresh arrival. This is the TNA Chris Bay Bendy from Major Wrestling Figures. They finally got up off their asses, just like Chris Bay did, and sent this figure. So let's take a look. I like how they do this blister pack where you don't have to like tear it open. There's these little flaps that you can undo the figure. You can just slide it off like so. See, that's how you know these are real figure marks, because they understand the collector's dilemma of like, well, if I open it, I'm going to have to ruin the package. You know?
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You could have always done it like this. Well, you can't always do it like this. That's the reason they don't do it in stores, is so nobody just steals the figure. But when you're marketing directly, you can go ahead and do that. So,
well, and that's when you start putting the figures in those glass cases.
That's right. It's Chris Bay. Got the tattoos. Got the tattoos there. How bendy is he? Not very. It's a little stiff. Cold Blooded's here. Zach Minger's here. So, there you go. So we have our show.
So to channel Brody from Mallrat says everything on him bend, even his
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's for a good cause. Is what it is. So hopefully enough people ordered these to make a significant improvement in Chris's life, quality of life going forward, and we'll keep him around just in case we need him for something. So that's the first order of business off the bat. Now, as far as news goes, like you said, there's a lot of stuff that happened this weekend. I think the biggest thing in the past week, I guess, that came out that's relevant to like what we're talking about is the news from different outlets that WWE's relationship with TNA is such that they have an option to buy. So they're leasing it now with the option to buy, to put it in car terms or property terms.
Give me Rent a Center, pal. Give me Rent a Wrestling Promotion.
Yeah. Again, much like in the AAA situation where they just outright bought AAA, but much like that situation, I'm not sure the benefit of owning it, but there's obviously a lot of moving parts that are above my pay grade. So I don't know. What what even would be I don't know. I can't even conjure a benefit of owning TNA. I feel like it's just you taking on a responsibility. And it's already like an awkward situation where people that get released from WWE go to TNA. If you own um if you own TNA, like if that's part of your portfolio and you're telling somebody that you had under contract in NXT, for example, yeah, I just don't think we're going to do anything here with you, but you go to TNA. Does that now mean that you're like, well, now you can't even go to TNA because we really don't want anything to do with you? Like, do you just move certain talents around under your umbrella? Like, no, you go over to this room, you go over to this room, you go to this country, you work down here. Like, is that how it's supposed to work? Because as right now, it seems like TNA is like signing, they're signing a few leftovers, right? But I don't know. It's if you're WWE, don't you absorb all that back if you were to like purchase this promotion? You know, how do you get rid of somebody anymore?
I don't really know. I mean, me and Matt have kind of talked about this a little bit on some of the watch alongs, and we've kind of talked about how it's like TNA has kind of become a little bit kind of like the new OVW, where it's kind of like, you know, somebody that's in NXT or on the main roster. Hey, you need some more reps, you need some more seasoning, you need some more time in the ring. Sending it back down to OVW, but instead of OVW, it's TNA. Such as how's Indy Hartwell keeping her name? We got Jakara Jackson down there. We got
who didn't keep her name.
Who didn't, but you know, I'm sure they're still keeping an eye on her. Cedric Alexander.
Right. Yeah. It's an odd situation, and I guess WWE making an official purchase would make it an even odder situation. I don't know, man. I don't know the answer, but that is the news. And apparently it's even like, I believe what I was hearing was right of first refusal, much like the ID program. Like if somebody else wants to make an offer to buy TNA, WWE has the right to match or, you know, so to match the offer so they get like, okay, we'll buy it, you know, instead of you, which is weird. So I think
that sounds more like a fail safe in case somebody does try to swoop in and buy TNA. They have that, you know, that kill switch.
That also makes it look like TNA is just out here for sale, like you know, like this is a yard sale or something. Like, you know, come down to such and such address and pick up a TNA or something. Like what? Who would want this? Why would anybody want this?
I don't know. I'm sure they get an AI Don West to make them want it.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I think Don West would approve of that. I think he would probably like to live on forever in AI form, right?
I gotta believe at least some part of them would think that was entertaining.
Yeah. Well, in any case, that's the rumors out there. So I guess we'll see. Cold Blood says WWE could probably buy TNA with Best Buy gift cards. Yeah. Probably. They saw what Shane did to Vince during the WCW purchase. Yeah. They could do that. They could give TNA to somebody. You know? Like, what if Stephanie wanted to be a on-screen general manager again? Nah. She
would bring it back ECW, pal.
Man. Yeah, that's so that's interesting development. But that's really, I mean, as far as news goes, that's really what I got. It's not that much of news, but it's interesting nonetheless. Was there anything that you saw or thought was noteworthy of talking about over this past week?
I mean, newsworthy, not really.
Okay. Then I suppose we could go ahead and get to the Chris Winland question of the week here. Let's see. That would be. Why is this not? For some reason, my thing's not scrolling here. Okay. Okay, so Chris Winland asks, what are some of the best and some of the worst ways to lie, cheat, and steal to win a match? Can you guys recall some fun circumstances that you have been involved in at either end of the quote stick? So I guess he's talking about like finishes that involve some sort of chicanery, or even maybe he's referring to specifically Eddie Guerrero style, like tricking the referee. I'm not sure, but in any case, I mean, we could talk about that. I need to, let's see, I need like 30 seconds. So, Brandon, if you could answer the question first, I'll be right back. Okay.
No problem. So as far as actually participating in any of those spots, I personally never was in any of those lie, cheat, and steal spots so I can't really answer that one because, yeah, I've never been involved in either end of the stick, so I can't really comment on that. But as far as the actual doing it, I gotta be honest. The only guy who made it work and made it part of their shtick was Eddie Guerrero. I mean, of course, I will say there were some, I forgot what matches it were, but there were some times where I saw like where somebody got put through a table. It was a tables match. Somebody got put through it while the ref was out, and then the heels got put through it, and then the other heel does something like attack from behind, pulls his buddy out, drops the baby face, and then puts the baby face in the records of the table, and that's kind of like Eddie Guerrero lied, cheat, and steal. But man, I think the classic when it comes to doing that, the classic has to be the old ref is out. Eddie grabs the chair. He smacks it on the mat, throws it to the other guy, falls to the ground as the ref's coming to, and then sells like he got hit by the chair. Although to be fair for me personally, that was the last match that I ever watched him wrestle because it also happened to be the finish of his last match with him and Ken Kennedy, where he did that exact spot. He did the whole lie, cheat, and steal thing. I think it was to qualify for the Survivor Series team. And then, and then he passed away that weekend. So that's why that one will always stick out to me.
So what about personal involvement? Any finishes that you've done that you thought were particularly fun, creative?
Man, none that I can really think of that were just out of the ordinary or anything that was like that. The only thing I can think of is like there was one spot we did. We were in like a local music venue for a show with a low ceiling, and where we set up the ring, there happened to be a pipe running low enough to where we could do something with that. So we did a spot where we have somebody where the smallest dude in the match who could technically qualify as a mini, but still a bit on the taller side. He comes running at me. I do like a thing where I launch him up. I think I'm trying launching him into the ceiling, and I act like I did it, and I sell to the crowd like hey, I got him, but I didn't see him catch the thing, and then I walk into him giving me a Hurricane Rana.
Oh, okay, I see. So he was hanging from the pipe, waiting for you, and then was that the finish?
No, it was like a spot in the middle of the match.
That should have been the finish because that was going to be the best thing you were going to do all night.
Well, I was young and didn't know any better. And I was
This
listening to
this
other,
is how you learn.
and I was also listening to veterans who also didn't know any better.
They didn't tell you about that pipe work, you know? So
Hey, get me pipe work, pal.
that's right. See, if you had been training with Al Snow at OVW like me, then you had already known about the pipe work deal. So, um, yeah. So, I mean, there's a million things. I don't know. What's my favorite? Being put on the spot? I don't know. But all I care about is that, damn it, it makes sense. And if it's a real dick move, then I like it even more. The only thing that, the only thing I ask is something we'll talk about later is that whatever your finish is, just do it so that it looks good. Because that's going to be the last thing anybody sees. And if you do it well or if you do it poorly, it's going to be the most memorable thing too. So, don't screw it up. Now, as far as like personal involved, like finishes and stuff, I had to come up with a finish once. I think I've talked about it before, but I'll say it again just in case anybody didn't hear me talk about it, forgot, or maybe I didn't talk about it. But I remember one time I had to come up with a finish for a battle royal. So they wanted to do the thing where it's like the last two people have an actual match. It comes down to like pinfall, submission, that kind of thing. So
Or
we're trying to
in TNA terms, gauntlet for the gold, or call your shot gauntlet.
yeah. But it starts out as like a Royal Rumble style battle royal. So so what happened was I made it so that my tag team partner was like, and I were the last two, and the way I did it is I had myself get knocked out prior to that, and he eliminates the last person that knocked me out, and then he crawls over quietly and pins me with the referee counting like softly so that I'm not like woken up by the 3 count. So that when I wake up, when I come to, he tells me that I won the match, I won the whole thing, and I'm just like disoriented, like, what? I did? Okay, I did, I guess. So I stole the quiet counting from like the 24/7 hardcore championship stuff where like Gerald Briscoe came in and like Crash Holly was sleeping.
Yeah.
And he's yeah, that part. But other than that, yeah. So I got that aspect of it, but yeah, it was those situations where we lost, like we were booked to lose so many matches that anytime I got the pencil, I was like, well, we're going over just to balance this out. Not even an ego thing. It just has to be realistic. Like, why are we even here? Like, we got to win something. So that's usually how it went. But yeah, like for the finishes of the matches that I was involved in, other than who was going over, I was usually tasked to come up with the actual finish. So that's why I have some level of, agenting experience. And that's one of the reasons I talk confidently about what people do today in terms of like, okay, what's this finish? And does this make sense in terms of what you've done the rest of the match, what you've done with your angle up to this point, where you're going to go or hopefully go? All those things are like factors that, that are kind of matter, and you still see how people just do whatever, and it doesn't, it doesn't always seem congruous with the rest of the plans.
Yeah, that's a lot of knee jerk and in the moment, reactions and decisions being made without looking at things from a 40,000 foot view and seeing how this domino falls and affects this one.
And I mean, people politic in wrestling all the time. Not enough people politic to lose. Like, if someone tells you you're going over and it doesn't make sense, there aren't going to be that many people that won't just take it. Like, yeah, okay.
I'll never forget one of the best pieces of advice I was ever given, or one of the best I guess, pieces of advice. I mean, it wasn't really meant to be given as advice, but I took it as advice. Where one of my trainers once said, dude, he said, I will put over the popcorn guy if it makes sense and advances story and does business.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's people that should always lose. There's people that should never lose. And there's, the people in between, but you've got to sort all that stuff out. Isn't that right, Chris Bay? He agrees. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for the question, Chris. Appreciate it. And I think with that, we can probably start moving this review portion along and see how some of these other people in their finishes. So first of all, we got our episode of Impact, our go home episode. We have our standard traditional opener ketchup packet. There we go. Heinz, as usual. We're opening up the show with Moose Down. He's been apparently attacked before we even, start the show. And, you never see this in wrestling where somebody's been hurt, right? And we have to, we have people coming to check and, this never happens. This is a shocking development. The system is there. They know obviously that this was First Class and Trick Williams doing this, so they would demand that the match that's scheduled for the main event later tonight happen right now. And I guess off screen somebody confirms it. Santino confirms that this match is going to happen right now. We don't need him to come and show up and check on Moose or anything or verify anything. Just we'll have the announcers just tell us. So we're starting out with System versus First Class Trick. Okay, anything to say about the match here?
Nah, not really. I mean, got what they needed to, what business they needed done with it done, so.
Did they? I don't know. Anyway, the finish, though, goes to what I'm talking about. Like, what did I just say about as long as it looks good, right? So the finish here is that Swan is going to roll up fat Brian Myers with, with a foot on the ropes pin, and he does like the worst roll up since Austin and Owen Hart when his neck was broken. And there's like no leverage on this. The fact that his feet were on the ropes would have actually helped Brian Myers to get out of this pin because there was nothing covering his shoulders. He's like halfway in the middle of the ring while Rich Swan's short ass is like trying to reach from his legs to the ropes. And it looks like absolute dog shit. So there you go. It's everyone's fault. But at least there's lots of dancing to celebrate from Trick Williams and First Class, right?
Dance party, pal. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess breaking news, Naomi is pregnant. That everybody already said. That everybody's already been saying for like a week. But I guess it's official. Did they get Adam Pearce to make it official? No? Okay. So. All right.
Big Jim don't miss.
Next is Harley Hudson and Myla Grace versus Danny Luna and Indy Hartwell. Now here's a funny thing. So Indy did not get tagged into this match until the hot tag. And of course the hot tag had to be like right after Danny Luna bumped both the other girls by herself before, bringing in Indy to clean house on the two girls that just got knocked down. So, I remember one time, okay, I was doing it was one of the practice matches, and No, it wasn't a practice match. No, this is a real match. So in this real match, we were watching tape afterwards. So like we had the match, and then this was like tape review. Um, and while we're watching this, uh, Rip noted that he's like, "Hey, Vet, you didn't have talking about the babyface team. Like you didn't have so and so tag in uh until the comeback. Like, and he's like, you only do that if the person is." He's like, you only do that if the person's fucking rotten. And I didn't say it out loud because the person was there, but I was like, well, that's exactly why I didn't do it. Because the more you have somebody that sucks in the match, the more stuff can go wrong. So I made it very simple. You do the comeback, and that's it. That was the mindset that I had, to use that word, mindset. So that's what I was thinking. Like, let's keep him out of the match as much as possible and only do what the bare minimum of what is necessary. That's what happened to Indy Hartwell here. I don't know if they know that the way I had to find, the way I knew that. But that's basically what it is. But the match wasn't long enough for it to matter, so whatever. But yeah, so she comes in, clothesline, spine busters, and a Hurts donut. Then everybody shakes hands because they're all friends,
Yeah, this hurt, didn't it?
Ow, that hurt. Well, anyway, I'll shake your hand. We're friends. Thanks for hurting me. Thanks for the hurting me. So. But I am interested in seeing more of Hudson and Grace. I mean, they're the new girls on the block, so to speak. So far, they've just been glorified enhancement talent. I'd like to see them do something more. Surely you have somebody you can enhance them with.
They kind of seem like they're in the too much in 1998 position.
It could be.
Which is not a bad thing because if, seeing how their, future went.
Yeah. I just, they brought him in and did all these profile stuff on him, if you remember, and even turned a profile into an angle.
Yeah, and that was actually a good one, too.
Yeah. And then, man. So.
That was actually a really good vignette that they did with them where they made you care about their characters.
Yep. And then they're just gone for a while, and then they're back here, and they're losing to baby faces.
Odd booking.
I don't know. But on the way back, Indy is, slapping hands with the fans, and one of the fans pulls her in and miss her in the face. Rosemary's a fan. Or is she a fan? Because she spit in Indy's face.
I think she likes her.
That's just how you show affection in the demon realm. Yeah. All right, more on that later. So, remember when Joe Hendry wrestled Ali last week? Okay, well, TNA doesn't think you did because they show a 90-second clip of this match. Minute and a half clip of this match.
All you needed to show was the finishing sequence, and that was it. Just a thing where the Agent Zero ran down, fucked him over. Ali hits 450, 1, 2, 3. That's all you needed to show.
Yeah, well, apparently not. So, now we go to John Schuyler versus Matt Cardona. Tasha Steele's interference can't stop John from getting the radio silence. And then, of course, they beat him up afterwards. And then Ali sends Agent Zero for a choke bomb on Matt Cardona. So there you go.
Yeah, typical babyface outsmarting them, and then they get their heat back.
Now, Indy's in the back getting her eyes cleaned. And then Danny Luna comes to check on her, but Jody Thread is already there. So then they start bickering, and then the trainer has to kick them out and be like, hey, I'm trying to clean this lady's eyes. Can you get the hell out of here, please? Take this bullshit somewhere else. Which is my thoughts exactly. Well, he didn't say that, but that's what I was definitely... Yeah, take this to like some other... Like, this would be one of those things of like... Like, if WWE buys TNA, they both got to go somewhere else. Goodbye. And now Cardona's mad and he wants Ali at Emergence, and Tasha Steelz is able to book this right here and now. So she does. She books a match for Emergence. Co-GM Tasha Steelz.
Yeah, nothing like she could have just said, "Hey, I just got back from Santino's office, and he booked that match after everything just went down." Easy as that.
Very easy. NXT catch-up packet. And there you go. And so Santino is here after all. I was just wondering if they're writing the show around him, but apparently he is here because he comes out and he's going to introduce the 4 teams that will be in the Fatal 4-Way at Emergence for the Knockouts Championship. The Elephants brand, Lady Lee and Saya Brookside, The Expiration, and Fatal Attraction. Those are all the names that he said. I do personally like the Elephants brand. I think Gary likes it also. He's a big fan of the Elephants brand. And Chris Bay also likes it. All right. So anyway,
Heyo.
So yeah, everyone comes out, they all get a word, and then Santino gives them 5 seconds to fight. He's going to allow them to fight for 5 seconds before he calls security. So maybe that's like giving them a 5-second head start, I guess. I don't know. I don't really get it. But don't worry, we're gonna get lots of diving. Like we'll dive. We'll dive on the security. Okay, Gia finds Rosemary and asks, why'd you do that? And Rosemary says a bunch of stuff, but essentially amounts to, I'm the gatekeeper.
Yeah, some weird ass promo about how she sees Indy as an outsider, and if she wants to, make it to the TNA Knockout title, she has to go through Rosemary.
Hey, sure, why not? Everybody's favorite time of the show, gimmick injury report. Moose has a hip injury, but he's cleared. Don't worry. Indy has an eye injury. No shit. That's day to day, even though she still has some green residue on her face. They know it's gonna be day to day. And Hometown Man with his bruised ribs is cleared for action. So he'll be back in his hometown shortly. You can't keep Mance and Steph out of TNA, is essentially what their promo is trying to tell you. They said other stuff, but that's the main point. Yeah, I guess they're suspended for what happened previously in Santino's office.
You know what? After that one comment that Santino made, I would pop if they somehow managed to buy the rights to what's that one song? That one Bloodhound Gang song. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. Bad Touch.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I wonder what the rights to that would actually go for these days.
I'm sure WWE wouldn't mind footing the bill.
They might. I don't know. We'll see. Um, yeah, so Eric Young versus Mike Santana. Whatever. Like, what am I supposed to talk about this? Am I supposed to watch this? Supposed to watch Eric Young versus Mike Santana? He spins the block on him. What do you think was going to happen? And then immediately he gets jumped. And then
did we see the same angle play out earlier in the show? The same finish play out earlier in the show?
yes, it's the Order 4 thing again. Except Sami Callihan saves this time. Hey, don't hurt my opponent that if I can't beat him, I'm going to retire. The Honorable Sami Callihan.
The Honorable Death Machine, Sami Callihan.
That's right. Even more NXT ketchup we have here. And then we get an episode of The King's Speech, which, of course, is Frankie Kazarian's talk show. He has Jake Something and Burt Macklin out here to stare at each other. And, nobody's really saying anything. And he tries to stir the pot, and then he bails out before he can get choked. I think Jake Something just grabs him. And then Burt gets his spine busted by Jake. So there you go. Any other takeaways from this weird interview segment?
Yeah, it felt very awkward. Like, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish here. Like trying to do some weird ass babyface build that just didn't hit.
No. Well, and you think about it, it's so ironic that there's somebody back there writing this, whatever that means, but what they're writing is that these guys don't talk. Come out here and stare at each other, right? Okay. Like that maybe that looks cool on paper, like, or in your mind you picture it going differently than the way it did. But when you just look at it realistically, like, I don't know. I don't know. It didn't work for me. I didn't buy it. In a digital exclusive, Fat Eddie tells Sammy, like, hey, look, you can't just retire and leave me to be fat here on my own.
Yeah, who else is going to kill a catering table with me?
Yeah. You think I can eat all this by myself? I'm going to have to let my wife eat something.
Which Sammy would say, also hook up with AJ Francis.
AJ Francis he's got a higher class of catering. He doesn't even eat here.
Very true, yeah.
He just drinks champagne all the time. There's no, yeah, I don't know. He didn't really say that. Well, he did try to pep him up. He said something about, like, we're supposed to fight forever, or you're supposed to be the Joker to my Batman. I'm sure Sami Callihan probably thought he was the Batman in this situation, but whatever the case, yeah, it ain't that. So the main event is Leon and the Hardys versus the Rascals and Cedric. And in classic X Division championship booking, the challenger gets a pin on the champion in a 6-man tag. Oh my God, the curse has been passed from Moose down to Leon Slater. My goodness.
Well, at least if the results of the curse hold up, that means he should retain at least for about 5 opponents, at least about 5-7.
I guess time will tell on that. But time is up for this episode of Impact. So do you think they did an adequate job of preparing you for this half-ass pay-per-view?
Barely.
Barely. Charles is here.
Hammer time. Oh, 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 oh.
Here comes the hammer.
Can't touch this.
So, all right, well, let's go to Emergence then. Let's see if anything emerged from Emergence. We have the countdown show. Did you happen to catch the countdown show?
I did not know, because apparently that was when they had some technical issues from within the building itself, or within their own like personal, or from their end. And
well,
then
that wasn't the only place they had issues. Well, they show the system and Trick arriving at the building. So the first match is Rosemary versus Indy Hartwell. So, like I said, I'm supposed to monitor Indy's progress, and I didn't have anything really to say about this. It was just a normal match. She didn't screw anything up. She didn't look great, but it didn't, she got through the match without fucking anything up. So good job. Probably one of her better matches that I've seen, actually. So maybe you could thank Rosemary for that. I don't know. But the finish comes in with Danny running down because she could see that Rosemary's getting the mist ready. me, like doing that thing. And then
every good boy deserves fudge.
Yes. So she runs down and of course, now, like, how classically when you're getting the mist ready, right? You have to go back to one of the neutral corners and like get up, you son of a bitch, like that kind of thing. Like, you always have to deliver the mist from the corner, like a spear or something. You got to get that running start for the mist. That. It's classic. Everybody's Great Muda, Kendo Nagasaki, all those people, like everybody just,
Tune up the vocal cords, pal.
Yeah. And so Danny Luna runs down and like grabs her arm through the ropes, and I guess on instinct or, reflex, Rosemary leans through the ropes and spits the mist out. It looked like a trigger, like just pull the arm and release mist. So she so Danny's on the outside, grabs her by the arm and yanks her arm, and she spits the mist out over the ropes, and Danny Luna's like ducks out of the way. So now she's wasted the mist, and she turns right around into a Hertz donut. Is that one of the all-time great finishes, like we were talking about earlier? Like maybe would Eddie Guerrero approve?
I'm still trying to process it. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, I mean, if you're ready to deliver your mist and someone grabs you by the arm, you're gonna instinctively mist them. It's like an animal reaction.
Yeah, like a wind-up dog. Yank the arm, spray the mist.
Right. Like who like you had in the microsecond that the brain can process the information. It's like, I'm being grabbed. I must defend myself with mist. Oops. Out of mist.
Refilling the action figure.
Yeah, she was trying to refill the mist, but she got Hertz donut before she could fully refill it, I guess. Anyway, that was that match. All right. So Sammy's sitting down at a table. I'm sure there was probably food on it before the camera got there, but anyway, he's sitting there, and Moose comes and sits down, and he apologizes for the mean things that he said. And Sammy appreciates that he lit a fire under his ass, because at least Moose said what everybody else was saying on the internet, that he's fat and he doesn't have it anymore, so at least Moose was honest about it. And then,
and I gotta give Sammy hit some credit. The first step on the road to recovery is acceptance.
Right. Although confusingly, he did say that he would only get in shape if he won the match. I mean, he didn't say he'll do it no matter what. But anyways, he tells Moose, hey, bring that championship home to TNA. So at least these guys have made up. So all right. So Nick Ziggler comes out and he tells Baltimore that it stinks for several minutes until the hometown man finally interrupts him with some local DJs, some local radio DJs. You know, just it's the thing that everybody always jokes about, like local radio DJs. They're not in the match at least, but he brings them out there so that he can prove that he's from Baltimore, I guess. And it takes a while, but he rolls up Nick Ziggler, and eventually, hometown man gets another win.
He's the hometown man.
All right. Well, hopefully that was enough to make people want to purchase the pay-per-view. The last thing that you see is hometown man celebrating with some local radio DJs. I know that's going to inspire me to at least download the app, right?
Yeah, I would have put that at the beginning of the pre-show.
Yeah, maybe Indy Hartwell and Rosemary lead into the pay-per-view, I guess. I don't know. Seems like an idea. So, here we are at Emergence. We're opening up with Cedric the Alexander versus Leon the Slater. X Division Championship on the line. 2 minutes in, I'm counting this. I wasn't counting it before, but I went back and counted because I was just like, how long did this take? 2 minutes. It took 2 minutes before they're taking a bump on the apron. I don't understand what people don't understand. If all these fucking wrestlers are perpetually on the internet caring about what people are saying about their matches, then why don't they see all the people that are saying the same things like, why are you guys just doing a bunch of stuff for no reason? Why are you guys taking a bunch of bumps? Why are you bumping on the apron and shortening your career? Why are you doing, like, if you're seeing everybody on the internet and that's your generation of people, why aren't you seeing that and listening to it? Why do you continue to perpetuate the stereotype of modern wrestling? Like, and 2 minutes in, like if someone told me they wanted to give me a bump on the apron, I was like, so you're going to roll me in and pin me afterwards, right? That's the finish. I'm not doing anything after that. Otherwise, why would I do it at all? But besides that, like, I watched the rest of the match and the apron bump had nothing to do with it. There was no story to the bump on the apron. He just gave him, I don't remember who gave it to who. I want to say it was Cedric gave Leon an STO on the apron. So, okay, and then what? And then you tell the story that Leon's back is messed up and, you put heat on his back and then you work on it? No. You just went and had a match that made no sense. Like, it's the match that they had is every modern cliche of, like, Cedric the Alexander is like a walking indie cliche. Like, everything he does from the no psychology, to the like, in the broader sense of, like, he's got no psychology to his match. And he does just moves and stuff, like only moves and spots. And then, like, to the fact of, like, when he makes the facial expressions or does the fire ups, like he does or he does the point, like all the stuff people make fun of indie wrestlers for doing, like he does all that stuff. He does the, I can't believe he kicked out of my finisher things. Like, I
Don't
mean,
get it.
I like Leon Slater, and he's gonna defer to a guy like Cedric in this match. So he's kind of going along with it, but that's not how you develop these younger talents and get them out of the habits, right? It's just I've never liked Cedric Alexander, not for 1 second. I never like disliked him as a person. I'm just talking about like in terms of like what I see. It's very, very much like a greatest hits of indie wrestlers. And I don't see the value in that. And then when he cuts a promo, he just is like, he just starts shrieking at the point his voice cracks like, the teenager from The Simpsons. So I don't know what the value of Cedric Alexander is, but nonetheless, he doesn't win. And Leon Slater does the Styles Clash and hits the Swan 450. So the other thing I was thinking was like watching this, I was like, and you think about how there's so many aspects of the business that are just getting cast to the side. And I was like, watching this match actually made me think of like, what's the evolution of where we're going here? So is there going to get to a point where everything is so obviously phony that no one cares anymore at all? So we just have two guys just walk out to the ring and just start setting up a spot. Like, let's not even pretend that we're having a match. Let's just do one move, one bump. Let's walk over to a different part of the ring, do another bump. Let's go outside the ring. Let's do something through a table. Let's go over to the guardrail. Let's do something on that. Like, no in between. Let's get rid of all the facial expressions. Let's get rid of all the emotion. Let's just do robotic move practice. Like, let's just do that until they're done and they've done all their moves, and then you can take your bow like it's a play. Like, thank you. The audience applauds. Like, yes, you did your bumps. All right, next guys to do their bumps. Oh, these guys have a ladder. Let's see what they do here. When are we gonna get to that point where we just throw out all the premise of like, it's a contest, it's a sport, I don't like you, you don't like me. When are we just gonna get to where the two guys just walk out there and do their moves like magic tricks?
How long do we have to start having floor judges holding up, scorecards?
Yeah. That goes back to that argument that people are making that wrestling should be in the Olympics, which that's the candidate for dumbest thing I've ever heard, So anyway, what did you think of the match?
I mean, outside of that, it was, yeah, that's why I think what they were thinking is, okay, let's put Leon in there with or at least we consider a veteran, whereas I wouldn't really consider Cedric like on the same level as drawing a blank here to who to compare him to, but yeah, I wouldn't put him in the veteran to learn from category when putting somebody in the ring with, unless there's something I'm not aware of.
I mean, he's getting repetition out of it, at least. That's Leon Slater, I mean. So, I mean, I don't know. It's fine, but I'm just speaking from my entertainment perspective and what I would think of as developing a talent. So, that's fine. It's fine. First class trick is with Gia, no music underneath. They apologize to, well, they all do like their promo, and then, sorry, Mama Moose, I got to beat up your son, is basically what Trick says. Mike Santana's doing some Stevie Richards fitness. Sammy Callahan is taping up. And then we get Ali versus Cardona. Now, you want to talk about stupid finishes? Whatever about their match, but Ali goes for the 450 splash and gets a 2 count before Matt Cardona crucifix pins him. So it's the old completely take a finish and then just pin the guy. You know, that classic finish. Also doesn't really fit in the Eddie Guerrero category of
No,
lying, cheating, and stealing there.
no, I never liked that. I saw that buried finishes.
Yeah. Also, does Matt Cardona need to be in that sort of a position where he's like barely winning? Like he's making it out of the match with Ali by the skin of his teeth. You've seen the size of Matt Cardona?
Yeah, plus are they trying to build up Ali, especially after they had him go over Joe Hendry? Why did you have him go over Joe Hendry and go under to Matt Cardona? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, I guess it doesn't. But don't worry because they're gonna run in and give him a beating right afterwards, just like they did. You know, when what's his name beat when they beat him up when he beat John Skyler, so they're gonna beat him up when he beats Ali here, and Ali's gonna start it because obviously he's fine. All he did was get pinned, so he'll just beat him up. And then we get the you know, you get Agent Zero and the Zero Bomb, and then the system fights their way through the service, and there's the whole schmaz out there. And then First Class decides to come out during this. And then that leads into our next match, which is First Class versus the Fat System. So they have a match for a little while, and then the Order 4 comes back out, and Tasha jumps on somebody, Eddie maybe, and then Lish tosses her off, and then while everybody's distracting the referee, he's looking everywhere except the legal man, and Agent Zero comes in, gives the Zero Bomb on the apron. He throws Fat Eddie onto the apron with the Zero Bomb, and he forgets to roll him in the ring because he walks away, and then he turns back and then throws him in the ring. He did remember to adjust his tie after doing the apron bomb before he walked away, but forgot the part of actually doing the thing. It looked really funny the way he's just so confidently walked away, and then you see him rush back in and toss Eddie into the ring. So that's when Eddie gets the down payment from AJ Francis and 1, 2, 3. But yeah,
and I was more worried about that bump. Like, how do you take a bump like that on the apron without fucking up your spine? I mean, that's like the sharp part of the apron going right into a section of your spine. Well, I guess you could, still though, fuck.
Well, there's a way to do it, but I'm not sure they did. I'm not sure if they did the way or if they just took the bump. I never know if anybody actually knows how to take the bumps, I just see them doing the the move, and it looks like it hurts like the full amount. So I don't know if he did that, but anyways, that's what happened there. So moving on, gimmick injury report on the pay-per-view. We always love these, right? Because you got to let everybody know. So Trey is still out with his hernia. Casey is still out with his dislocated knee, and Moose is still cleared from his hip injury. So we are ready to rock and roll. Joe Hendry, speaking of rock and roll, Joe Hendry's on guest commentary for the potential retirement match of Sami Callihan versus Mike Santana. And on the mic, Sami says, "Hey, I got my friends and family here, and it's why don't we make this a Baltimore street fight? We'll do it my way, a Baltimore street fight." And then he chucks the mic over to Mike, and it bounces off of him and falls outside. And then the referee has to hand it back to him, and then Sami comes over and says, "My bad." And then Mike says, "All right, we could do the street fight." And then ding ding, and the match is a good summary of Sami Callihan's career contributions. It's
like,
paper
that's
cut. Yeah. Paper cut, staple gun, kick out of my finish multiple times. That's how I'll remember. That's how I'll always remember Sami Callihan and everything that he gave. Everything he gave us.
Yeah, my only thoughts with that bad match, like, okay, got a couple of Sammy spots, and then it's like, okay, go home. Really, that's it for his retirement match?
Well, didn't this whole thing seem like half-ass?
Pretty much, yeah.
Kind of like Sami Callihan. Just, I mean, he's got like 3 asses now, but I'm just saying, like, as far as effort.
I wouldn't say anything about Sami Callihan's half-assed.
No, he's like 7-assed, but that's it. I mean, look, I've made no secret. He's everybody. I like when he's talking about the people. When he's talking about the people that are on the internet talking about him, he must be talking about me, because it's nothing I haven't spent the same time saying. I've called him fat. I've called him terrible. I wouldn't even be charitable to say he doesn't have it anymore, because he never did. So, you know, when he's sitting there taking off his boots in the middle of the ring, my honest thoughts are just leave him on and get out. Nobody asked. Nobody asked for any of this. Just keep them laced up and just let them help you get out of here faster. Just get out of the business, get out of the ring, get out of the show. That's my thoughts. There you go. Say what you will about me, but that's how I honestly feel. And when he does go back there, they're doing the thing where everybody's clapping. But then it becomes an angle because Eric Young comes up and says, "Don't listen to all these people." And then Joe Hendry gets in his face, and then he's like, "I wasn't talking to you, but don't forget this whole thing started with you." So the only good thing out of this whole mess was that Eric Young actually made some sense when he told Joe Hendry this is all his fault. Everything's his fault.
Damn you, Joe Hendry. Say his name and he fucks everything up.
That's right. Like Labra said, why should I feel sorry? He chose not to get in better shape and retired. Yeah, you think you're gonna get in better shape not wrestling, or you know?
Sally, I could see Tony Khan booking Tessa Blanchard to go over Bruiser Brody.
Oh, Tony Khan could, yeah, definitely. Well, any last words for Sami Callihan's career?
Well, I mean, he was cool when I met him. Other than that, hey, I thought he had a pretty decent run.
Yeah, people seem to think he's a nice guy, so at least he's got that going for him. But be nice to yourself, Sammy. That's the important thing. All right, Nick Ziggler gets camera time for some inexplicable reason. Let's just gloss over that. They have this whole thing where Tommy Dreamer and Jazz and President Ballcap and Masha and the other Zaya are all out here for Lei Ying Lee to sign a new contract. So she signs her new contract. Good for her. Seems very happy about it. And this leads right into the Fatal 4-Way Knockouts Championship match. Fatal Influence, the Zayas, the Inspiration, and the Elegance brand. Whew. Man, it's a lot of people. A lot of ladies in one spot. I don't know. Did you like this match?
I mean, it served its purpose. I mean, I was expecting Fatal Influence to go over. I was kind of shocked that they did not.
Well, geez, at some point you gotta not put NXT over. At some point, you gotta draw the line somewhere, and they did. The corners all get ejected. Like everybody that's out here with these people gets kicked out because they're all interfering and fighting amongst each other. And then M smacks Cassie with the belt and pins her. So your winners and still the Elephants brand.
Where's my elephant?
Where's my elephant? Where's my elephant? Stampy. We don't have Stampy, but we have Gary. Gary's the best we can do for now. So Indie Wrestling cuts a promo where she says she's coming for the Knockouts title, but preferably without Danny Luna. If you could just get away from me, I guess is kind of the sense that I'm getting here. So then we get Frankie Kazarian on commentary for Burt Macklin versus Jake something. These two cheese sandwiches have a slugfest, but it ends with KIA. I don't know. Did you enjoy this? I mean, it seemed like they were working hard, but I was also working hard. I was working hard to care. Now, I didn't think Jake something was going to win, so there wasn't like an element of intrigue to this. So I don't know. What were you thinking? Were you thinking it was possible for Jake something to go over here?
I mean, there might have been a slight chance, but they've been building up Macklin as kind of like, the man carrying the TNA banner because he's like the main, male singles champion right now with, Trick holding the world title, which leads me to believe they might be setting up him and Trick coming up.
Yeah. Well, let's see about that. So after Burt gets his win, Gia is there to try to get a word with Burt, and Frankie Kazarian chooses this time to leave the commentary desk and go to the back, and they exchange words, and Burt gets in the ring and challenges him, and Kaz walks out. So, not today, brother. We see Moose and Trick warming up. Then we see some charity dealie at Jimmy's Famous Seafood there in Baltimore. Great. Saw somebody with like a check for, like holding one of those big novelty checks that has had like $1,000 on it. I'm like, $1,000? $1,000? $1,000? Like I could have donated $1,000 and not even noticed. You mean to tell me these people can't donate more than $1,000? Get out of here. Bro, just donate $1,000 to like somebody's GoFundMe after they got severe burns or a car accident or something. You can't donate more than whatever. Anyways, that's okay. At least we got the Rascals versus the Hardys in a match. It's a match we all wanted to see.
It was a fun match. They did pretty well. I enjoyed it.
All right. Anything else?
I mean, it's Hardys and Rascals.
Sure is. Well, it's kind of the Rascals. I mean, Myron's an honorary rascal, which means he does have to take the Swanton here. Sorry, buddy, you're not an official rascal, so I'm afraid you got to take the Swanton. You know how Jeff does these Swantons these days.
Yeah, just crush your chest, just push your chest in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And don't worry, he'll hug you afterwards just to make sure it's it's all good. We're all friends here. Hugs, no problem. I got no problem with this. It's just a match I didn't want to watch, didn't want to see, didn't care, predicted the outcome. You really think that with all this sort of Hardy's sort of resurgence and them re-winning the belt and then supposedly going to have a match with the Dudleys and all this stuff is going on, and you think the Rascals are going to take the belts off them here at a secondary pay-per-view? Like just having this pay-per-view, it's like you're basically penciling in the winners for the crowd. Especially with this match we're talking about next, the main event, like just seeing this match is already telling you who's going to win. So it sucks. Cuz you want to, if that's the match you're going to have, you want to at least believe that Moose is going to like have a chance. So like if you had this match at a Slammiversary, or if you had this match at a Bound for Glory or something, then you're like, wow, could this be the one where Moose gets it back, right? But if you have it at Emergence, you're like, well, Moose has lost, which that goes against everything in like my booking fibers of my being. Like I would just never, like let's say, like if the main event of this, to your point earlier, the main event of this pay-per-view was Burt versus Jake, then you might think, okay, because you got a secondary title headlining a secondary pay-per-view, you would think they might want to pull the trigger here, right? I mean that psychology somewhat makes sense, but
And it's a formula that works. Going back, like you had your big shows with the big pay-per-views, and your smaller shows with the lesser paper or the lesser stars in the main
in
event.
your houses.
In your house. Yes, thank you. Or Clash of the Champions.
Yeah. Yeah, where nothing was probably going to happen, but damn it, maybe once in a while it would.
Worst case scenario, you see some good wrestling.
Yeah. So, all right. So we have another first class penthouse here. They're going to start by saying that they came, Rich and AJ both came from Baltimore or Maryland, and it made them who they are today. And then, of course, they do the heel thing where they say, and that's why we had to get out of this dump, and, boo. And then Poe the Raven from the Baltimore Ravens is not going to stand for the slander of this city. And he's going to come out there and gesture wildly as a mascot character at them, like he wants to fight them. But then right. Flapping his wings and poking his beak. And here comes the system. And they have a standoff, and then Lish slaps AJ in the face. And AJ's like, well, we don't want to be here anyway. We're leaving. This place sucks. So they leave, and then Poe does the Ray Lewis dance, and we're out. So, looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. It's a package, and then it's Moose versus Trick Williams for the TNA Championship. Now, Brandon, I'm going to ask you what you thought about this first. And I mean everything. What did you think about this match? What did you think about this build-up? What did you think about what I said regarding as far as like this being the main event of pay-per-view? You already know who's going to win based on everything. And the finish and the roadmap for what's next.
Take a minute to process there. I mean, predictability factor. Let's go back to Spinal Tap 11. There's really zero investment in it, especially since they did absolutely nothing to make you believe that there's any chance that Moose was going to take the title off him. And then, of course, Moose going over clean with 2 finishes. As far as where does it go from here, Trick, I'm assuming it's going to lead to him and see what's the name. They got a victory road before Bound for Glory. So I'm going to guess either at that or the next, not Heat Wave, but maybe the next NXT event. Maybe him and an NXT superstar or somebody, or definitely not Santana. So I'm thinking that's going to be Bound for Glory. And who's the top babyface they could go with?
There aren't that many.
Unless they wanted to run back Hendry again, which I doubt.
No, they've kind of ground him into paste.
I had no idea. Unless we want to do like an NXT, unless we do the NXT guy on Victory Road. I don't know.
Well, the point is that they didn't give you any clues. See, me setting you up with a question like that, you're trying to think of it, and based on what they give you, you got nothing. Right? It's
Pretty
just
much
a flat end to this, whatever this is. Once again, you're putting our Moose in a bad situation. For what? Like, what are we're sacrificing Moose on the altar of what? Like, what do we get out of this? Like, what do you, where are we supposed to? Here's another thing. As far as the match itself, I didn't really like it. It wasn't bad. I didn't like the match, though. And I really don't think that. See, I think Moose is uncomfortable right now because he's trying to mix two characters or two sides of his character into something, and it doesn't work. Babyface Moose doesn't work. You spent years trying to cultivate stoic, evil Kingpin Moose. Now, when he's trying to be like a babyface and do like babyface spots or like have a babyface attitude, he just looks like he's sleepwalking almost. Because he's trying to retain the stoicism that he has from being a heel. He's trying not to completely do a 180 on his character, but you have to, like, if you're going to be doing this type of match or these type of things, you can't still just be the same guy that you have been. So he's not like fully committing to either one now. I mean, you got to be a lot more animated as a babyface than he is. He has no, like, his facial expressions they're not there. Like he looks like, if I was watching Moose for the first time in this match, I would definitely be like, I don't see what all the hype is about. He's not really playing the part well. I know he can, but for whatever reason, he's not. It's not working. And I don't like it. So it doesn't work for me. And I think it's affecting his overall, I feel like his old theme is like, it's too late now. He can't do that anymore. I feel like he shouldn't have a different attitude. I just don't feel like you needed to. The system's a heel gimmick, and I don't think you should try to turn them babyface. It just doesn't seem like a thing you should do. And it was a soft turn anyway. It wasn't like there was some inciting factor where they all had to have a change of heart and come to an agreement. They just started being put against different people and acting different. So I don't know. Not a fan of it. I'm disappointed. And yeah, we got to figure something out. But that's not our job.
Yeah, it's almost like going with Moose, like, or what was it one Ron Swanson quote where it's I try to work and go to school at the same time. And my mom told me, don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Well, Moose knows we love him. That's all that matters. It's not all his fault. But it's important to be able to recognize your position, and when there's things that management does or positions they put you in that you can't do anything about, you still have to maximize 100% of the things you can control adapting to that situation. I really think that even if you wanted to be babyface Moose, the best babyface Moose is full heel Moose.
And just stick him on heels and write him in situations where you cheer for him against those heels.
Yes. So that's my advice. If anybody's listening, feel free to take it. But as far as that, the match ends with, like you said, multiple trick shots after a ref bump. So there you go. Don't worry, we protected you, Moose. It took two trick shots to beat you, Moose. And you would have had him, Moose. You had him beat with the spear, Moose, twice. You had him. Don't worry. You had him. But I'm sure he feels much better about the whole thing now that he knows he was protected. But that was Emergence, and then they just go off. You just go off the air with that. Trick is a champion dancing, playing the belt guitar. So, yeah. So he's gonna show up tomorrow night and be like, "Let's talk about it," and everyone will be like, "Talk about what?" Because they didn't watch Emergence. All right. Well, that is just about it. I mean, what else do we really have to say? That's Emergence for you.
I'll say it did, at least from a gay perspective, they did a pretty decent job. So, I mean, at least if they made money from a P&L perspective, it was a success.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Well then, let's take it home, I guess. Really nothing else to say here. We've said it all, so let's say where we'll be for the next foreseeable future. Let's do what TNA's not doing, giving us a roadmap. What are we doing next, Brandon?
Well, let's see. Once this goes, about 10, 15 minutes after this goes off the air, we're continuing at the Raw watch along. Tomorrow we have the late start NXT watch along right after a show goes off the air. And then Wednesday we got the AEW Dynamite watch along and belt count. Thursday, TNA Impact watch along and belt count. Same thing for Friday with SmackDown. Saturday. Is there anything going on Saturday? Again, so much going on. I don't remember. Is there anything wrestling wise?
I don't know what day it is. Isn't what's AEW's thing? Isn't that coming up soon?
Oh yeah, Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Let me double check on that real quick.
It's Saturday or Sunday? It's very
that is this Sunday.
Sunday. All right. There you go. Forbidden Door, Sunday.
So I have to work that day when it airs. We'll do a late start watch along that night at 1.25 times speed.
Hey, all right.
And then Saturday, I guess HMG After Dark. Not sure what we're doing for that night. Once I get it figured out, I'll let you guys know. And of course, as always, you can catch me on Twitter, or as the kids call it these days, the X, at LG Brandon Whoop, and also on Twitch at twitch.tv/LG Brandon Whoop Whoop. Guaranteed every Wednesday night after the Dynamite watch along and sporadically throughout the week.
All right. And you can find me at Opinion Haver everywhere. Of course, you could check out the Next Level Wrestling Review with Big Ray Hernandez at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday. That's where we'll talk about what Trick is doing next. We'll talk about it. Then you could check out, as far as AEW is concerned, every Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, you can join Jimmy T and myself for The Wreckage. We'll be covering all that. goodness of the week there. And if you want to check out other things, there's always Wrestling with Rick Rogers every Friday, Concrete. There's Stevie Rich's show Friday. There's Limpin' Ain't Easy, usually Wednesdays, but who knows? Part 2 of Ashante the Adonis interview coming. So be on the lookout for that. Very good interview. Please check it out. Check out part 1 now on the YouTube channel, Limpin' Ain't Easy. So, well, I think that's just about it as far as those things go. So, Brandon will be with you shortly with the finish up to the Raw watch along. And until then, for Brandon, I'm the vet, and I don't have a sign off line.